Hey there, Attorney Jason Cromie from Pensacola, Florida, back again with another session of the law in a way that people can understand it. Today, we're going to hit the topic of generally about drug dealing in Florida. In terms of drug dealing in Florida, there's typically three different charges you'll see related to drug dealing, and this applies to all drugs. The first one is sale. Right? It's a simple sale of a controlled substance. Sale of a controlled substance is, what you think it is. I have a piece of cocaine. I say to you, here you go. Give me $20. You give me $20. That's a sale. Okay. So you'll be charged with sale if the police send a confidential informant who's working for them to buy drugs from you. That would be an example of how the state would make a sale charge against you. An undercover cop, that does happen. They will dress in regular plain clothes, walk around and buy drugs from people, and then those people will get charged with the actual sale of cocaine or marijuana, whatever it is. A second typical drug charge that you'll see is possession with intent to sell. Now, in these types of charges, no sale actually occurred, right? It's the possession with the intent to sell. So what the government's alleging in those types of cases is, look, we didn't see you sell it, but by goodness, we know you were going to. How does the state prove those charges? Most of the time, they're going to bring in an officer that they're going to claim as like an expert in drug dealing. And they're going to say, look, this person had $350 cash on them organized in a way that looks like a drug dealer would store it. And, you see silly things like the currency was in denominations of 5s, 10s, and 20s. Yeah, because that's money. But anyways, they're going to allege that the way that you had the money organized and the types of bills you had looked like a drug dealer, or maybe the amount of drugs that you had. Maybe it wasn't a trafficking level, which we'll talk about in a minute. But the amount of drugs you had were not for personal use. So that's typically how they're going to do it. The amount of drugs are not an amount that someone would typically carry on their person for personal use. And number two, the money that you have, either there's no explanation for it or it's, in a dealer role or something like that. So that's, obviously a little more difficult for the state to prove than actual sale, where maybe they've got you on video or somebody coming in to say, yeah, no, Steve sold me the drugs. And the cops say, yeah, we have it, pictures of it happening. So you got sale of cocaine, or sale of controlled substance, possession of a controlled substance with intent to sell. And then the third typical charge relating to, quote, drug dealing is going to be trafficking. Now, trafficking doesn't have to be dealing, right? Trafficking in Florida can simply be possessing a certain amount of drug that's over a weight, right? So 14 grams or 28 grams or something. The weights are going to change depending on the types of drugs. For example, trafficking in fentanyl is going to take way less fentanyl than trafficking in heroin or something like that, or trafficking in cocaine or trafficking in marijuana. So the weight thresholds are going to be different. But they will come with their individual minimum mandatory prison sentences as well. So you have a 14 to 28 grams, it'll be a 3-year minimum mandatory. You can have 14 to 28 of something, it could be a 7-year minimum mandatory. So the weight plays a big deal. Trafficking sounds like real drug dealing, right? It sounds like, bricks of cocaine in the trunk of a car, crossing the border, or that sort of stuff. But, those cases are not that common. Most trafficking cases that we'll see involve people who do just possess a drug for personal use and just happen to have more than that threshold cut off for the trafficking. So those are your three basic different types of drug sale charges that you're going to see here in Florida. If you have any questions about these, or you've got a case similar or a family member does, feel free to give us a call for a free consultation. We can discuss the issues related to your case, defenses to these charges, what sort of minimum mandatories, if anything, someone might be facing. Like I said, more than happy to talk. Feel free to give my office a call. Otherwise, have a great day. Thanks.